Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 88 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going today, sir?
It is going so good.
Now, is it your Friday?
It is actually my Friday this week. Yep.
Jealous.
And it was a long week. I had to stay late a couple days, but it was a good week. I had a good day at work today.
That's good.
Yeah, good people. And it was actually kind of nice because one of our patients was telling us how impressed they were by just how much it looked like we enjoyed working with each other.
Nice.
They could tell, which is pretty cool.
That's
and we
really
do have
cool.
a really, really good team. So cheers to my team.
Yeah, and I know they bring a good beer all the time too, so
Yes, they do.
extra jealous.
You know, it's really funny. Hannah herself, she's getting another shout out today. She still hasn't actually tried that gingerbread stout that she brought me today. And she's like, well, I might want something more than that. I was like, trust me, just take one sip just to try it, and then you'll probably pour it down the drain.
That'll be enough, yeah.
Then you can move on to something else.
That's too funny. Well, today we're going to cover bottle societies and membership clubs. So, yeah, it's a timely topic because we both got an email that we will discuss later in the episode. Yeah,
I've been getting a lot of advertisement for this one in particular. But yeah, there's actually, we had a newer brewery, or at least they were opening a newer tap room, but they were doing a special where you could buy into the membership and you get a certain number of beers. I think you get a free pour every time you go or something. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff like that, and we'll talk about some of those, but the value of those.
All right, but before we get to any of that stuff, we have to do our favorite segment of the podcast, which is drinking beer.
All right, let's do it. You got something good today.
Yeah, I do. So the way this works is I introduce my beer, give nose notes. Steven does the same, and then we cheers and give our tasting notes. So today, in light of Steven drinking his 120-minute IPA from Dogfish Head, I have the 90-minute Imperial IPA from Dogfish Head. So I don't think I might have had one of these, but it was before I was this into beer, I think. So I'm actually really excited to try this. So this is an Imperial IPA. It's 9% ABV. And I have a tall can, Steven. I don't know what yours came in.
Oh, dang. No, mine was a bottle.
Yeah, it's funky. It's got a dude with his head is an alarm clock, and it's pointing at 90 for those 90 minutes.
What did you say this was on Beer Advocate? A 94?
So I think this is a 94 or 95. So this is an A from Dogfish Head. I gave Dogfish Head a lot of crap last week for making a lot of 87s, but...
Well, the 120 minutes, 92, so that's why I was interested to see the 90 minutes.
Oh, this one's
better
rated higher. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot more drinkable. This is half the ABV of your 120 minute.
Yeah, I think the audience for the 90-minute is a little bit broader.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot more drinkable. So it pours beautiful. It's more of a golden amber, and it's got that really thick head of super minuscule bubbles, but it sticks around, which I like. And it's just powerful malt, caramel, toffee, grapefruit, and just hop resin. I'm going to like this. See, this is this is the IPAs the West Coast style that I fell in love with, so I'm excited about this.
That is the highest rated version of the 60, 90, 120. The 90 is the highest rated.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good to know.
It's probably the sweet spot of booze and hoppiness.
It's not overtuned and not undertuned, yeah. All right, cool. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking a Toppling Goliath Stout, actually, today.
Oh, you are not.
Yeah, it's not anything crazy from them. It's called Rover Truck. It's an oatmeal stout. It is 5% alcohol, so the very, very just sort of everyday session stout. But yeah, I'm excited. I have actually never had anything dark from them. It's always been Pseudo-Su, King-Su, Sosis. Lots of IPAs from Toppling Goliath.
Yeah, that's why I'm so interested, because we only tried one of their stouts, I think, at the beer fest, but I've never just had one of their main line stouts.
Yeah. Okay, looks like a stout. Dark. Actually, probably I would say looking in the light here, like it's not super, super, super dark. It's a little bit of a brown tinge to it. It's not as black as some of the darker barrel aged stuff, but nice kind of full head with a tan color to it that is definitely sticking around. Runs up and down the glass. So the nose is a little bit dark chocolate, definitely some almond in there. Almond for my wife listening. She says almond. Do you know why she says almond?
No, why?
Well, technically, if you're an almond farmer, you grow the almonds on trees, and then so there are almonds on the trees, and then do you know how you harvest almonds?
I have no idea.
The machine comes and grabs the tree and shakes the tree, and the almonds fall out of the tree. Well, it shakes the L out of them.
Oh my gosh.
So then they're almonds off the tree.
Is that really how the professionals refer to them?
I don't know. According to my wife.
There's this just a...
She's the only one I have ever heard say almond, but her grandpa was an almond farmer, she says. So
there you go. This is either true or like a extremely elaborate troll that now I'm that now I'm falling for.
Yeah. If you ever call them almonds, you'll get immediate cred with Jill. So.
All right, I'll remember that.
Yep. So definitely some almond aromas. Touch of coffee there too. A little bit of a like underlying sort of like beer smell. Mm-hmm. Maybe like a touch estery, fruity, maybe just a touch. Okay, I'm excited.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, this is very good. It's sweet and bitter simultaneously in like a really interesting way. So on the entrance, sweet malt, toffee, caramel, but almost simultaneously you get massive like pine, citrus, grapefruit, and those kind of like in the development, you get those hoppy flavors. And then in the finish, it actually goes sweet again. It's almost like candied oranges in the finish. And somehow there's still like that bitter hop note. It's just like it's there the whole time. And the alcohol is non-existent.
Oh, that's good.
It's really good. So I'd really like to try, and maybe I'll do this one day, depending on how hard it is to get these 90 minutes. I think these 90 minutes are pretty available. But yeah, I'd really like to try this 90-minute IPA versus Arrogant Bastard.
Okay.
They're different, but like they're occupying a similar space in my brain, and now I want to try them side by side. So anyways, random thoughts. But yeah, this is definitely a thumbs up. This is super solid.
Okay, cool.
How's
thumbs
yours?
Up. Mine is good. It's not great. It kind of drinks, I don't know. I said it drinks like a porter. Like it's surprisingly light-bodied for being an oatmeal stout or claiming to be an oatmeal stout. I thought it was going to be a little bit thicker-bodied. Maybe just like a touch of vanilla creaminess at the end. Maybe that's where that oatmeal's coming in. But yeah, the taste really is mainly roasted coffee, maybe with a touch of sort of that nuttiness, that almond or maybe hazelnut nuttiness to it. It kind of has a char that feels too burnt. You know, like unpleasantly burnt, so kind of like burnt coffee.
That happens in a lot of stouts, I think, sometimes where they don't. It's like burnt and bitter that they don't. It's not quite done right, and then it kind of throws off the whole flavor.
Yeah, because you can get, I think sometimes the like char is good and just kind of goes just a little bit too far and becomes more bitter and unpleasant. But yeah, I mean, I think overall it's very drinkable. It's just not that exciting.
So is that a thumbs?
That's a thumbs down.
Down? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna buy this again ever.
Ever. Dang. Well, we'll chalk it up to an experience. You said you like the highs and the lows, so
yep.
There's a lot.
I don't not like this. It's like really, really boring.
Fair enough.
It has like a few unpleasantries to it.
All right, fair enough. No worries. You don't gotta like them all, Steven.
I wish I did.
All right, so our next section is postscripts, where we fix things from previous episodes, beer news, which is self-explanatory, and then story time with Steve. Now, I have had a postscript that's been straggling along. I don't have strong enough Google foo to solve it, and Steven actually found the answer for me. So
Hopefully I'm the master at searching the right keywords.
Yeah. Your abilities on Google surpass mine. So we found, our question was the role of water in Scotch is really important. And the question is, like, do they manipulate it? Because we talked previously about how, like, Jester King, they never manipulate their water. I think that's very romantic. There's something cool about that. Where you have other breweries where they're dialing in their water by adding chemicals and doing treatments like exactly how they want it. So a lot of times Scotch distilleries will kind of talk about like, oh, they have a special source of water and all this stuff. So I was curious like how much of that is true and how much of that, like, what if they're just manipulating it and then they're making you think it's this romantic water source. But Stephen found, this is like deep. This is a deep cut. This is a doctoral thesis from Craig Alexander Wilson. So if you believe Craig, this is the answer. But he submitted this to get his PhD apparently in 2008. And according to him, water used for steeping and mashing receives no chemical treatment prior to use, and only a small proportion of distilleries perform any physical treatment on their water at all, such as basic filtration or settlement. 90 active malt distilleries, of the 90 he surveyed for this, 48 use mashing water described as soft, and only 8 described as hard. Cooling water for condensing spirit during distillation does not come into contact with the spirit. So there's two types of water. This is the water that actually goes in the mash, and then they use a ton of other water for, applying,
and distillation.
basically applying and taking heat. Yeah, exactly. Out of the product. So according to him, they do not manipulate their water. Some none at all, which is fascinating, and some do like basic filtration. So I guess the romance is alive in the Scotch universe as far as their water sources.
Yeah. It looked like. I mean, it's a really really long paper, but it does look like he goes into more about like the peat and the peat moss and its role in creating flavors and stuff in the Scotch. So look at that.
Look at that. We found the answer. Only took us a month. This is our hobby. This is not our day job.
Yeah, if it was our day job, we would have cleared that up weeks ago.
Yeah, like 2 weeks, All right, so next we have... Did you have any postscripts, Steven?
No, I don't think so.
Besides
I wrapped mine
solving
up
mine.
a long time ago.
But we also have beer news. Do you want to cover our beer news?
Yes, beer news. So, Bell's Two Hearted, now owned by Lion Little Beer, whatever. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, Lion something.
I always call it Lion Little World, and I don't know whether that's right or there's like a band name.
Right? It sounds like a band. It's like Jimmy Eats World.
Because there's like Big Little World
yeah.
and Jimmy Eats World, and I really think it's Lion. I know it, like, I always wanted to say Little Lion World, and I know that's not right, so I call it Lion Little World.
Okay. Anyways, the Lion Company.
Yeah. They now own Bell's, so they are expanding the lineup of the Two-Hearted lineup, or the Hearted lineup, they call it. They are, of course, they have Two-Hearted, and they have a Session, I think. But now they have a Hazy Hearted, because you gotta have a hazy in the lineup. Mm-hmm. Then, technically, they're owned by the same company as New Belgium now. So it's pretty funny to me that they're also making a Big Hearted, which is an Imperial IPA, which is 9.5%. Coincidentally, the same same ABV as Voodoo Ranger Juice Force.
Yeah, interesting.
Which one innovation of the year by Brewbound.
They're copy pasting that formula. Control C, Control V.
So, yeah, Two Hearted is expanding their lineup with a hazy and a higher ABV IPA.
So the hazy one sounds cool, but Steven was able to point out So I've been drinking a ton of Two Hearted. Actually, I have 2 stories about Two Hearted. I talked to some friends about Two Hearted, and they told a pretty hilarious story about their uncle who really liked Two Hearted, but he was drunk and he couldn't remember what it was called. And he was saying, yeah, the dead fish beer. And they're like, what? A dead fish beer? He's like, yeah, it's got a dead fish on it. And finally, they're like, you mean Two Hearted? And I would have never thought about this in a million years, but Steven and I was looking at the can before we started recording. I was like, wait, maybe that fish is dead.
Yeah, well, I was saying, like, the fish on the Two Hearted can looks like it could be dead.
It does, doesn't it?
It definitely could be, and the coloring is sort of like, he's fading, or he's like laying on the concrete.
Dead fish beer.
Whereas the other ones, like the fish is more like in active movement. Like you can kind of tell that it's swimming at least it's swimming in something.
This is the live fish beer.
Yeah, but the Two-Hearted fish definitely not looking so great.
But I
feel like his color is off, like
yeah. So maybe that observation was correct. I would have never looked in a million years at that fish and thought about if it was alive or dead, but now I'm curious. But would
Oh,
you?
also, okay, first off, Big Hearted. Have you ever seen Double Hearted? I think we've actually tried Double Hearted at the beer festival
I believe we
when
did.
Bells was there. That is not, they are not the same thing. Double Two Hearted is an amped up version of Two Hearted. Okay, so this clears it up a little bit. Well, not the whole hazy thing.
Well,
So
does it clear whether the fish is alive or dead?
it does not.
Okay.
But the Double Two Hearted Ale is a amped up version of Two Hearted, so it uses it's the same Centennial hop. So Two Hearted Ale is a 100% Centennial hopped beer, and so the Double Two Hearted is just more Centennial hops. Like it's just an amped up version, whereas the Big Hearted uses a different blend of hops and a different grain bill.
Okay.
But it's a higher ABV. So anyway, and then I also thought it was funny that you had this like Two Hearted or this Hazy Hearted Ale that's basically based nothing on Two Hearted Ale. Like it's just a hazy IPA. They're putting them all in the hearted thing so they can make a hearted variety pack or something. I don't know, because the hazy is a mix of like Simcoe and Galaxy and Eldorado hops, Strata hops. Nothing like not a Centennial hop to be found.
So that was your devastating insight into the. I was getting excited, and then Steven was like, "How dare they say this is a hearted beer? Like they don't." They just copy pasted the hazy formula. It has like no link.
Yeah, but it looks like they did that with both. Both the Big Hearted and the Hazy Hearted are both new combinations of hops and stuff.
So the purist would say, and I would think I would agree, is that the new ownership is just trying to cash in on the Two Hearted name by introducing variants, but they're not really. They're just slapping the name on something that almost isn't derived from Two Hearted, or at least double Two Hearted. It's the same hop bill. They're just doubling it. So.
Well, I mean, Double Two Hearted was made back when.
Yeah. Before they
Bells
were bought.
was Bells, right? And so you can see. I mean, it really is like basically Voodoo Ranger, and then take the Voodoo Ranger name and use it as an umbrella for a bunch of different versions that aren't really like they're not like iterations of the same beer. They're just different beers under the Voodoo Ranger name, and Bells is just doing the same thing with the Hardy.
Sad. As long as they don't mess up, and maybe someone's going to correct us in an angry email, but as far as I can tell, Two Hearted is still quite tasty. I've drank about 7 cans of it now.
Dang, dude.
Maybe not that many. Probably maybe 4 or 5. But now that I can just get it at the grocery store, I just kind of like wander down the beer aisle and just grab 2 cans every time I'm there and just keep. So I always have a can in my fridge because it's a fantastic like go-to beer if you just want to drink a beer after work. So I'm very happy with how accessible Two Hearted has become.
It's so funny because I've been able to get it like whenever I want here in Texas, and I think I've gotten it on tap one time at like the baseball game, and that's about it.
I'm sure the novelty for me is gonna wear off, but it's just like seeing it and being like, wait, I can buy that? Like it's exciting.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I did try. No, I didn't yet. I do need to do like a taste test to really like put it against some of my favorites to see how much of it is me being excited about something new that I can buy, or if it like I really do prefer the flavor against some of the other like IPAs that are available to me. So
I think a good side by side would be Two Hearted and High Lie, or like Two Hearted and maybe Two Hearted and Pseudo Sue.
Okay.
Two Hearted and Sierra Nevada Pale Ale would also be another good side by side where you have 100% Centennial versus 100% Cascade.
Oh, that would be cool. And what's Pseudo Sue?
100% Citra.
Citra. There you go. There's the.
Yeah.
You gotta do. What is Torpedo?
I don't know. I think it's probably a combination.
Okay. Because that's a little stronger. Maybe that's what I'll try to do is like, I want to do like Torpedo versus Pseudo Sue versus Two Hearted. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to be able to get Pseudo Sue pretty regularly, but I haven't seen it for a while, so I'll have to look into that.
I can get old Pseudo Sue pretty regularly.
Well, that's the problem. Well, I was getting fresh cans of it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. You got to check the dates on those.
For sure. There's another one in this 4-pack, which is called Change of Heart, and it just says an experimental IPA. It's a cold IPA, apparently.
Oh, okay, cool. Those are getting pretty popular.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Steven doesn't like them.
Oh, the cold IPA.
All right, cool. Well, that was our beer news, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Styles that should have ever been made.
Yeah. Well, they gotta keep trying new things to sell to the novelty seekers like you and I. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out because I'm assuming. Well, I don't know. Maybe. Do you think that the Hazy Too Hard is going to be on the same kind of distribution level as?
Probably.
So
yeah.
that'll probably
You'll
show up.
see this 4-pack, I'm sure. The hard.
Okay, that'll show up in my grocery store soon. Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll keep an eye out and I'll grab one if I see it. So next we have Storytime with Steve. And I want 2 updates. One, I really want to hear about your barrel aged stouts tasting that you went to, because I was very jealous about that.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I got there and it looked like they had some sort of wristband line thing where you could buy the wristband, and I don't know if it gave you a certain number of pours, but people were going up to this one side of the bar with their wristband and getting a pour. I think you could just do 1 pour at a time, and it was just like quick. But I was driving myself and I couldn't stay too long, so I didn't really want to go crazy. So I sort of looked over the releases and picked a couple that I really, really just had to try. So my first go round, they were letting, if you went in the regular line, they were letting you get 2 5-ounce pours at a time per person. So I got 2 5-ounce pours. One was the Modern Times Monsters Park Vanilla.
I'm so jealous of that one.
And the other one was the Ale Smith Speedway, the Vietnamese Speedway Stout. And that one was good, I will say. It definitely had a nice, it was coffee forward. And that was one of those situations where you had the char that was pleasant.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it had this really nice roast to it. It was very good. But that Monsters Park Vanilla was fantastic.
I bet it was.
It was so smooth and just very, again, my favorite word now for these barrel aged stouts is cohesive. Just so cohesive, great vanilla flavors, but nothing that overwhelmed the beer, and just a great balance of the barrel, of the malts, great just sort of mix of chocolate and coffee and roast and vanilla all coming together is just a really, really, really good stout.
It sounds so good. And it's like those are the beers that Modern Times makes, all these insane beers, but you can't drink them. I don't know where you get them. I guess you get them at the brewery, but yeah. Well, and then so I was very impressed by that. I was glad I grabbed those 2. My second trip up to the bar, I kind of went a little bit more adventurous, and I got a blueberry crumble stout from Ingenious Brewing, which is down in Humble, Texas. It was too much. It was so much blueberry in your face. It was too much. It wasn't very good. But I also got a bourbon barrel aged quadruple from Boulevard Brewing. That one was really, really good. Jason would have been in heaven with this one because it had really great cherry notes and mixed with just really great toffee and bourbon barrel aged, that sweet bourbon, sweet bourbon and cherry is such a good mix. Yeah, so that was a good one. But yeah, the dark beer event in general was just very fun. It's kind of a fun thing to be at because most of the people, I would say probably 95% of the people there are they came to drink. Yeah, those were nerds.
Really cool dark beers, and yeah, I was
those were beer nerds.
It was
right
definitely
there.
with people for sure.
Was there a lot of people there or at drinking those?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet.
Crazy busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Jealous.
That was it. I did those 4 and then
yeah.
Quit.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's a problem when everything is basically 12 to 15%. Every single one of those beers, even just drinking 5 ounces of that it hits you so hard and so fast.
Yeah.
And then my other story is that actually it's really funny. We have Specs, which is kind of our Total Wine kind of liquor store.
Okay.
And they do tend, depending on which one you go, it sort of varies, but they tend to have a fairly good beer selection, and they definitely have a pretty good sort of weird beer collection. Some of the foreign stuff, some of the saisons, kind of like weird bottled stuff, lambics and stuff like that, because it is like a liquor store, so it kind of has that more of that feel, more than just getting beer, regular beer. So kind of some weird bottled stuff. So I had actually kind of thought maybe I'd get some BCS there, but they didn't have any. But I did and I was going there actually for a few things. I was sent there for limoncello, like a lemon liqueur.
I know what that is.
We make a really bomb pasta sauce, the limoncello.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I was getting Kahlua for my wife because she wanted to spike her coffee while her mother's in town for 2 weeks. And then
unrelated, she just
yeah
wanted to spike the coffee. The mother just happened to be here.
Yeah, and then she had been seeing on TikTok about this Evan Williams eggnog, which apparently is a very, very good eggnog.
Okay.
Made with Evan Williams bourbon.
Nice. It comes pre-mixed, or?
Mm-hmm. So that was my mission, but of course, like before I even go to look at those, I just take a detour to the
right. You got to see what they got in
the
beer section.
Always got to look at the beer section, and sure enough, they had a 4-pack of Black Ops by Brooklyn Brewery, their annual Four Roses bourbon barrel aged stout. So,
did you grab it?
Got it.
Nice.
Of course.
So I'm jealous. That's a really good beer.
So I've now 2 years kind of like lucked into finding that.
I've been keeping my eyes open, but I think the window has passed. You probably got like the only ones you're ever gonna see. But yeah. I've got to try it, so I did. That is a white whale that I landed, but I would grab another 4-pack for sure. I like that one a lot. I actually almost bought, and I probably still will, but I'm going to wait for after Christmas. I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into Four Roses bourbon to figure out like what's the best one to get. So, because they have a kind of a complex array of options. They have like, I don't know, they have like special select and single cask, but I kind of want to try. I don't know, just because between the documentary we watched, neat, and the fact that Black Ops uses the Four Roses bourbon barrels, I like that. So I was like, I just want to try Four Roses bourbon and like see how that is. So
it was fun to walk down the sort of whiskey and the whiskey aisle basically and look at all the bourbons.
Did you recognize some stuff from the documentary?
I recognized some stuff, and then when I was looking at the scotches, I was like seeing Speyside and Island and like reading about the flavor profiles from each of the areas and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But even that is like a very, very overwhelming selection.
Yes and no.
Because I was like, okay, I think Jason's told me about Glenlivet, but there were like 6 different Glenlivets.
Actually, you know what? It's gotten really bad lately. But I would say like 10 years ago, it's a small universe. And then actually, someone just destroyed my brain at Total Wine because they were totally right. But I had been in there and I was like, I feel like it's like the Scotch universe is kind of small. Like you can kind of get pretty familiar with it pretty fast because there's probably only like 100 or something scotches that you could buy stateside. And the guy just like died laughing and he's like, yeah, like the ones that are here. But like if you went to Scotland, it's a vast universe. And I was like, I guess that does make sense. Like how much of that stuff actually makes it all the way over here? It's probably it's just a fraction of what exists. But now it has gotten a lot worse because they do a lot of... Glenlivet is a perfect example. And I could be wrong, but I feel like it wasn't this way. But now, there's like 12 variants of Glenlivet. And they do all this stuff where they finish it in different barrels. But I think it's all kind of marketing. And from what I understood a couple of years ago, they were like starting to run out. Scotch got like a renaissance where it got really popular again. And they started to run out of some of the age statement stuff. So, because generally, like if they put 12 years old on a bottle... every drop of scotch in that bottle has to be 12 years or older. And some of it might be even older, but the youngest is 12. Gotcha. And now they're doing a lot of stuff where you'll notice they don't age statement it. So they're kind of... It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but when they're not putting the statement on there, it's because they're probably using a lot of like young stuff. And they might be using some like really good stuff to try to offset it, but like they're not... they're like... I don't know. It's different. It's a different product you're buying, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so... But yeah, it is getting complex. But that's cool that you said that. Yeah, but if you can just find Glenlivet 12-year-old, not any weird barrel, not any weird distiller's edition, that's your gateway drug. You drink that until you like it, and then you like scotch.
Okay.
But I just got you. That's... Steven, this is like my 10-year plan for you. I've gotten you to phase 1, because now you like barrel-aged. You like bourbon barrel aged beer.
Uh-huh.
That was phase 1. But my design.
Man, that was only phase 1. You
Yeah.
had no phases before that.
No, phase 1 was get you to like beer. But I don't even feel like I didn't do that. And phase 2 is get you to like bourbon barrel aged stouts. And phase 3 is get you to like scotch. And phase 4 will be get you to like cigars.
Oh yeah, that's true. Those are much bigger phases, I think.
Those are harder barriers of entry. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well,
right.
we got a lifetime. All right. Sorry.
Yep.
Carry on. We're really derailing. So do you want to get into our main topic because of the emails we keep getting?
Yeah. So, who's asking you to join their beer club?
So Steven and I are probably getting the exact same emails. It's from Firestone Walker, and they're saying, join the Brewmasters Collective for the low price of $500.
Per year.
For 1 year.
For an annual membership.
Yes. And
Now, I think you alluded to the fact that you did not think it was worth it.
I don't know.
Because I said if I lived in California, I would do it 100%. But there is a caveat to that.
What's your caveat?
My caveat is that I think I would... At first, I said I would do it if I was in California because I can't do it right now. They don't ship to Texas.
Yeah.
If I lived in California, I could have it shipped to me. But I think... my caveat would be I would do it if I lived close.
I agree, because some of the benefits are gonna be related to being able to go to the brewery.
Yeah.
And for where I'm located, that's not gonna happen. I could probably go once, but it would be like a weekend trip for me. So I wouldn't be able to cash in on any of those benefits.
Yeah. So what you get is you get 25 beers over the course of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You get quarterly. You get a box of 5 beers, which are a combination of like exclusive and propagator series beers, R&D beers and stuff. And then offset that from like other months, you get special beer, special collection beer. And then your birthday month, you get a 5th beer, some special beer. Mm-hmm. So that's the 25 beers, the 20 that come quarterly, the 4 individual ones that come on a different quarter, and your birthday beer. So that's the beer segment.
Right.
So 500 divided by 25.
So this is my main thing is like if you just look at the beer,
$16 a beer.
It's $500 for 25 beers. That's $20 a beer, right?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking $500. Yeah.
And this is my hesitation because I'm just looking at it from purely of like what the beer I'm going to get in the mail.
Yeah.
And some of those R&D beers are not going to be worth $20. Like I think it's cool to drink some of that stuff, but I don't know. I feel like you're going to get some you would like it because you're going to get some peak experiences because you're probably going to get access to beers like you would never ever be able to drink. But yes. I bet a lot of those are going to be like huge misses. And then like I don't know, it's $20 a bottle for me. I mean, there's other benefits, but the way I look at it is like I'm probably not going to cash in on any of those other benefits, so I'm literally just paying $20 for $20 a pop for 25 bottles of beer from Firestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say one of the other benefits is that you get free shipping anytime you order more than $40 from them. So that could be worth it. Some of the benefits that are more useful if you live close would be something like VIP taproom access. You get immediately to the top of the wait list if they're busy. That's pretty cool.
See, 15. Yeah, those are, if you live close to the brewery, it changes all the math.
Yeah, 15% off merch. And then you do have a chance to get, and then there's other member-only events, private tasting events. So those would be not only fun, like it just would be fun to be invited to those and to go to those, whether or not like how much you get to drink during these tastings, like the dollar value of all that, but just the experience. And then you do have a higher chance to get early tickets to the Firestone Walker Invitational, which
we got to go to that.
Yeah. So you kind of have a chance at advance tickets to that. So there's a few other benefits that certainly, again, are only useful if you live close, or only worth it if you live close. And then I like to break down too. So I do a lot of credit card churning where I get a new credit card with like a sign-on bonus, that kind of thing. And after you do the initial sign-on bonus with points and stuff, then you kind of have to look at the card and decide, like, is the annual fee worth continuing to have the card or not?
Gotcha.
And what's interesting is that one of the very popular cards is the Chase Sapphire Reserve card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their like really elite travel card. And what's funny is that when you look at the annual fee, and the annual fee is high, and there's definitely some benefits that make up for that. But one of the things that I was told early on in the like credit card churning thing was like, when you look at benefits, don't look at it as like, oh, that would cost me this much money, or like that benefit is worth this much, so that offsets the annual fee. You have to look at it as like, would you use it?
Yeah.
Right? So like one of the benefits is that you get access to the lounges, the airport lounges.
Mm-hmm.
I will never use that. I'm not an airport lounge person. And honestly, the domestic airport lounges are pretty lame. I try to like engineer my flights and stuff so that I have as little time in the airport as possible. So I just don't spend a lot of time in an airport anyway to even take advantage of the lounges. It'd be more for like, I don't know, long international travel or something if you were doing a lot of that. So just because I have access to lounges and there's a dollar value amount to that, it's not something I would use. And even if it's something that I start using because I'm paying this annual fee, it's still not right. You still can't factor that in. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what you have to look at. Well, one of these benefits is not, are you going to use it, but do you want to use it? Like, is it something you're using only because you bought the thing, or is it because you would have bought it? You would have done that thing anyway. Now you get a better deal on it because you're joining the club, that kind of thing. So
that makes sense.
That's my evaluation process.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
So yes, if I lived close enough, I think this would be hands down something I would do, because I want access to like some of those weird beers.
Yeah, and you'd be going to, if you live close to Firestone, you'd be going to the brewery.
And I would go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's something you're already doing anyways. You're just getting more benefits from it.
Yeah. But yeah, they've definitely been advertising hard for that one. I've gotten lots of emails, and of course I see it on Instagram a lot, that kind of stuff. The other one is the brewery, and I didn't look up the details as much.
Yeah, so I found an article that has, it's from Hop Culture, that has the top 15, what they think are some of the coolest beer, like bottle societies to join, basically. And it says the breweries is 325. And you get 12 beers. You get to choose a style of beer, and then they send you one beer each month. And there's other benefits, like kind of the same stuff. You save 15% off their online and in-store purchases. You get extra access to limited tasting exclusives. You get some glasses. You get to be able to order special beers that no one else is able to order. It's kind of the same setup. A little bit less expensive, but you do get less beer.
Yeah, you get 12 750 ml.
Yeah, 12 bombers.
Wine-sized bottles.
Yeah.
And
then it says guaranteed access to Black Tuesday, which is their bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout, like their kind of flagship barrel-aged stout. So that could be a nice perk. But the problem is if I do the math on that one for me is even worse. Because if I'm not going to use any of the other benefits, I'm paying $27 a bottle of beer.
Yeah, that one I think is a stretch for you.
Again, if you lived close to the brewery, it really changes the math.
Yeah, that's the problem, I guess. And what you can do, honestly, is look local and see if some of your local breweries, maybe you have a favorite brewery, look to see if they have some sort of membership club or something. So what I was talking about early at the beginning of the episode, this brewery nearby, they opened a new tap room in our downtown area, and they were offering this one-time membership buy-in where I can't remember the price, but basically you could get a free beer every time you went, or a couple free beers every time you went. But there were a couple things that turned me off because I thought about it. One was that the price per beer was a little high. It wasn't crazy, but it was a little high. And also, this taproom location, because of some different like zoning restrictions and whatever, I don't think they're brewing beer there. They can only have like a few beers on tap. So anyway, they had like 3 beers on tap there, and nothing was like crazy good.
Okay.
And so to be like, well, I have 2 free beers every time I come here, but I don't want the 2 free beers.
You're like, I don't want to drink them.
You know, they have like a lager, an Oktoberfest, and something else. Like nothing very exciting, and they weren't rotating. I mean, it was like these literally the same three
You're just gonna get
beers.
the same beers, yeah.
Yeah, so I was pretty glad I did not buy into that. Because at first I thought maybe, if it works here but also works at the main brewery, maybe that would be worth it. But we do have another one. It's actually one of the strangest places I've ever been in, and I'll take you there when you come visit someday. It's called Mesquite Creek, and it's this Mesquite Creek Outfitters is what it's called, and it's like this store that has like clothing, and it's kind of this like bougie sort of outdoor store.
Okay.
And then, but they also have like tables, and they also have a bar with like a bunch of beers on tap.
Weird.
Too. It's very, very odd. But anyway, they have a membership club that you can buy into. Same thing, you get like a free beer or something. And I don't know, there are a lot of events in downtown, and you can get in our downtown area. You can get a beer and walk outside. Like, you can walk around with it.
Oh, that's nice.
So it is pretty convenient for people who spend a lot of time down there and grab a beer and then walk around the downtown area, that kind of stuff. So it's not a horrible idea, but you're just a little bit beholden to whatever they have on tap, which is sometimes really good and sometimes not so good.
Hit or miss.
Yeah.
Sounds like a weird place, but yeah, that sounds fun. The owner must really like outdoorsy stuff and craft beer.
Yeah, and it's a very, very strange little like store. Like, I would never buy anything in there. Like, everything's just like way overpriced, and just like I said, it's very like boutique outdoor shop, and then also bars.
Really good beer. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do a pretty good job of keeping good stuff on tap. But yeah, so one of the things, because I think they are becoming a little bit more popular, and we were talking about this pre-roll, like if you you can very much get your money's worth. So one of the other ones, there's another local brewery, they give you for $1,000, they give you a lifetime membership.
Yeah,
and you get a free beer every single time you go for $1,000 for life. That's it. You're a member for life. Free beer every time you go to this brewery for life.
One beer. One beer.
Yeah. So one, are you just gonna go have one, or are you gonna have more than one and only just do one free one? Right. So that's more of
that gets you in the door.
Discount. Yeah. Two, how often are you gonna go, and how often do you have to go to fulfill? What do we decide? Probably 100.
It's like 170 times if it's $7 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then. Which is a lot of times to visit one brewery.
It's a lot of times to go to one brewery.
I've been to this brewery is pretty close to my house, and I've been one time. So
yeah.
And then, what if they close?
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, what if they go under? You don't get your $1,000 back, and then there's nowhere to get your beer.
You get to keep your commemorative T-shirt though. So do you think that they're in any situation these are worth it? I think because I assume that the brewery doing it is, it's a net positive for them. Like,
they must be making money.
The percentage of people that are going to be using it so often that they would basically make their money back is very few. It's like the credit card thing, right?
Right.
Like, how many people are actually...
Or like gym memberships. Like, a lot of people sign up with the best intentions to go work out, and then they just never go, and then they forget to cancel, and... I feel like it kind of overlaps that in some ways. I think a lot of people buy these memberships with like the best intentions, but then when you actually look at it, like, oh, you might go twice a year. So I think it does make sense if it kind of what you kind of pin down with the credit card thing. Like, if it's already overlapping your normal behavior. Like, for whatever reason, if you live close to Firestone and you go, once a month, I think it makes a lot of sense. But if you buy something thinking it's going to, modify your behavior, or you need to modify your behavior to take advantage of the benefits, you're kind of diluting yourself a little bit, I think. I just don't think your behaviors will change that much.
Yeah. I think, and I haven't really looked into whether Pint House does anything like that. That would be probably the one. Like, if you think in your head, what's the one brewery that I do frequent on a, pretty regular basis, then you could start looking into whether that brewery has some sort of membership club or something you could buy into. I do just I have a rewards app on my phone for Pint House Pizza that just every time I spend money there, it logs. I get points and stuff, and so after a while I get $10 off coupons, or I've gotten a couple free T-shirts, and it literally, so that's a good example of it doesn't. I don't have to change my habit.
Right. It's already overlapping.
Yeah. I'm spending the money there. I would have spent the money anyway. It just happens to like build up and give me rewards occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I get like free T-shirts and stuff. So I think that's probably where the value is.
No, I agree.
And I think the other side of that is with these like very more exclusive bottle societies, I think they're actually called.
Yeah.
With like the Brewmasters Collective and the brewery. I think there you're paying for an exclusion.
Yeah. It's the
The
flex. It's the flex.
exclusivity. Yeah.
But you and I don't really care about it. Now, I think it's targeted at.
Sir, you do not know me.
Oh, really? I think. Well, the thing is, like, the caveat I was gonna say is like we're looking at it almost entirely through like a value lens. Mm-hmm. But again, if money was no object, I would just join all of these, right? Like, because that sounds awesome. But at the end of the day, I just don't have $500 to throw at a beer membership.
Yeah. You know, Tabor has one.
Oh, do they really?
They have one basically where it's like Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So you're like Tabor Prime for like $100 a month. You get free shipping on all your boxes.
That's all I get?
Mm-hmm.
And that costs $100 a month?
No, $100 a year.
Oh, a year. Okay.
So if you think it's the flat rate of shipping on Tabor,
it's
I think
15,
it's 15.
Right? Yeah.
So you got to get like 8 crates.
To break even.
But you're not worried about like a crate that doesn't have very many beers in it or something.
Yeah,
you
that's
true. You don't have that like, I probably should add more stuff to this to make it worth it.
Right.
If you have a crate that only has 2 beers in it, or you can like bump up your shipping to get something faster. Like I really want that fast.
Yeah.
Close the crate early with only a couple beers in it because it doesn't matter. Your shipping's free. So
that makes sense. Interesting.
And I don't know if it's $100. That's like in my head. Actually, it might not be. It might be 50 if I remember right.
Ooh, 50 is getting a lot closer to better.
Which, then you only need to do 4 crates to make it worth it. I want to say that was probably close. That's what it was. But yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible idea, depending on how many crates you get from Tabor. But you want me to go on a Tabor rant again?
Oh yeah, go for it.
This is so bad, but I've been going on this rant lately about like nothing is fun anymore, and especially everything is subscription based. Oh, that is killing me. But the pre-orders on Tabor are killing me. This idea that you have to like get a beer. Maybe I already went on this rant.
No, you didn't. We talked about this. I think we talked about this during the week in text form.
You like put the beer away on a pre-order, and they're just gatekeeping all these like really.
Oh,
good
we
beers
did talk about this.
We did. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on board with you. Like I hate pre-order on Tabor now because like they're justifying it like it's the best beers, but I literally saw, I think it was Coconut Pie Face, which I got like last year from Tabor, just regular order, and they're pre-ordering that. And I'm like, come on. That's not even like, that's just a regular beer. It's not it's not like one of these like highly sought after rare beers, because that's kind of what they set up for. It's like, oh, this is only for like the rare, highly sought after. We want to make sure you get access and all this stuff. And now they're doing it on like regular plain old beers. And I'm like, get out of here with this stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that it's just a way to like get people to open a new crate, I think. I don't know. I did notice when I opened today, I noticed that it said that I don't know how long it's been saying this, that the beer was going to drop today into my crate at some point. I just don't know like when it started saying that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, it could have been like 2 or 3 days ago it said it was going to drop today or not. So that would be nice. A little heads up is nice, because then you can at least start looking to fill your crate at that point. Because I did miss out on beer that I probably would have gotten today, because I thought like, nope, I'm not putting it in until I officially hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's backfiring for them a little bit with me, but
yeah, who knows? We'll see.
But again, I play the game differently.
Yeah,
I think than some people. Back to the credit card thing. Like I play the game differently than any ever. You know, I'm like one of the few people that like.
Does Tabor have a subreddit?
Where the credit card? I don't know. Where the credit card companies are like, man, this guy sucks. But they keep giving me cards thinking I'll get sucked in or something and they'll get money out of me. But
you're too smart.
Smart for that.
You stay one step ahead. So Tabor does have a subreddit, but it's only got 119 members, so it's
boring.
It's probably worthless.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
is that an episode?
Oh, there are some mug clubs too. That's a kind of a popular thing where you if you check off a certain number of beers,
What's a mug club?
you get a certain mug, or you get like a specialty mug, and coming in with that specialty mug gets you the free pour.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
So anyway, those are some of the cool like beer membership societies and mug clubs and beer clubs that you can join. And there's obviously some really exclusive ones. And then your local breweries, check them out, see what they have. My internet is getting weird, so you may have to take us out, Jason. But we'll see you next week.
Well, we hit some technical difficulties, but this was episode 88 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and Steven's internet is out. But we will be back next week for episode 89 of Attenuation, a beer podcast.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!